Hey everybody. Wanted to make a quick little video here about our upcoming assignment in the form of the article map proposal. And just to kind of recap, as we are actually kind of coming to an end with Module 1, we're coming to an end of things. So looking back over here, I've tried to include these videos just from time to time to kind of explain what's going on. Um, we had our assigned readings. We had our discussion boards, our introductions, our writing process. Remember, this week's discussion board was listing these potential like research topics, things that we're interested in, things you might want to explore. If you haven't added that yet this week, go ahead and do that, just so we know what you're thinking about. Remember, in this discussion board, you listed some potential topics that you're just saying, like, these are things I would be interested in, doing some research with and exploring and learning more about. Because for one of our first major assignments, we're going to do what's called an article map. We're going to map out an argument that somebody else has made or somebody else has proposed about your topic. Before we get there, though, you're just going to propose an article. So you're going to choose an article that makes an argument about a topic that you want to explore. So go back to the ones you listed here in these discussion boards and find one of the three, decide which one you would be the most interested in reading more about and learning a little bit more about. And then find an article about that thing that makes an argument. So as it says here, I'm going to click on the article map proposal. And remember, this is due this week, coming up Sunday at the end of the day. You need to locate that argument, that article that makes an argument about your issue. So, for instance, if for me, maybe my chosen topic is climate change, I'm going to look for an article out there that makes an argument about climate change. You can do this just through Googling things, things that pop up. The one thing you want to make sure of, though, is it's not just like a newspaper article that's just, you know, giving a recap of something. You want it to be about your topic, advancing an argument of some kind. After you select it, you're going to submit this proposal. This is just a proposal for the thing you want to focus on more in the actual article map essay. So this proposal has two main parts: 150 to 200 words justifying your choice. Like, um, why does this interest you? Why does this fit the criteria for argument? What kind of argument is it making? How is it making an argument about your topic? And then, in about 500 to 750 words, summarize the author's argument. So tell us, as readers, we haven't read this thing. Give us a sense of it. What would you say? What would you do to kind of help capture what that means? What sort of main points does it make? What sorts of things does it include that helps us summarize it and get a sense of what this article is about? So 150 word proposal, and then 500 to 750 words summarizing it. And so the things to remember here: it should be argumentative. You're not making this argument yourself. You're telling us what the other person is saying. What is the author arguing? You want to represent their argument in this proposal. The other thing to say is, I just want to show you an example of what this could look like. So, for example, if mine is about climate change, I went to the New Yorker. Obviously, I've run out of my free articles apparently here, but I read this one with one of my free articles, and it's this article by Bill McKibben, and it says what to do when it rains on the Winter Games. And he's thinking about how, like, he's thinking about climate change. He's thinking about this, the kind of absurd idea that, like, we had these Winter Games and it was raining, and so he's making a larger argument about how we should address climate change. What should we do? And so if I'm choosing this one, I read it, I think about the argument he makes. Um, I have put his article into MLA format in terms of a works cited entry here, and I'll show you how we can clean that up in a second. But the main thing I have to do now is create my proposal. I have to actually like write, what I want to say. And the first things to start with is just to make sure you're doing MLA format. So, you know, you want to do first name, last name, then you want to do my name, Professor Sewell, um, class, Writing Studies 2. Then we'll do the date of submission, which if we go back over here, we're going to submit it on Sunday night by the end of the day. So, oh, I can't spell January. January 29th, 2023. And the other thing we can include is what assignment is this? Actually, here we go. So that's all the MLA heading stuff. We'll make a title. In this case, essays, you want to title something creative, and you can come up with something, more creative on your own. But you could say something like article map proposal. In this case, I'm going to say climate change, since that's my focus here. I have my MLA setting here. Then I can come down here, and the first part, remember, is just my 150 to 200 words justifying my choice. In another section here, 500 to 750 words. Summarizing the author's argument. So in this case, it would be Bill McKibben's argument. I'm going to summarize what he says in this article. And by then, you've got it. And the only other thing to make sure is you want your works cited page to be on a separate page. So I'm going to come down here and clean this up and make sure it looks nice. You want to make sure, your entries. Again, this is all MLA formatting, and you can go back and read more about this at the MLA link, but I just wanted to show you. You also want to make sure this part is indented. You always do a hanging indent. Here we go. So you want it to look like that. The easiest way is to sort of tab over, or not tab over, I should say, but change the actual margin right there so that it hangs over. And the idea here is that so that if I had another entry, I could start, it would distinguish these two. But in this case, I just have the one. You can have more than one, but your proposal just has to focus on one article. There's that. And so this would be the way this should look then. You should have your work up here, your summary, summarizing the author's argument, and then your a paragraph or so justifying your choice. This is the proposal. The only other thing to make sure of is just to make sure this is double spaced. And then, of course, your paragraph should start right there. Whoops. Even your works cited page should be double spaced there on its own separate page. So this is kind of the layout for what we're looking at here. The only other thing we want to make sure we have, again with MLA formatting, we want to have page numbers. So I'm going to go to Insert, down to page numbers. Use this one here, and it'll put the page number right there. You want to put your last name in front of it, and that way it'll continue and do that continuously on every single page. And then you're good to go. So this is what you want yours to look like in terms of the setup. The article that you choose is totally up to you. It's your topic. Go back to the topics that you addressed in that discussion board earlier this week, and I would choose one of them, and then try to find that article. Um, Justify your choice, map it out a little bit by summarizing it, and then that's the one we're going to deal with more fully in this first paper. Again, this is just a proposal for what you want to focus on. I hope this makes sense. I hope this helps to see it a little bit in more detail. Um, if you need help finding something, if you're struggling to kind of find an article, you don't know what to do, reach out to me, email me. We can do a Google Meet even. I'm happy to talk through this and work with you on it. But just as a reminder, remember this is going to be due by the end of the day on Sunday. So make sure you attach it here, and that way I can read your proposals and we can, get you some feedback if we need to move in a different direction, or if things are looking really, really good, you'll get the thumbs up from me, and that'll mean we're going to continue working with that thing. So, all right. I think that's everything I want to say about this. I hope this hasn't gone on too long. Reach out if I can help. Let me know what I can do. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to what you come up with.